You're good.
So, Cameron, so how long was it since you had the dream, and then all of a sudden you're, jumping in the water?
It was about 3 weeks, and so it was a lot to organise, but I still had to keep training. I'd planned to do 3 24-hour swims in a week, that week, and I made the decision. So I carried on with that. Luckily I had a really good organiser in this girl called Christina Evelyn, who pretty much organised the whole swim on it by herself. And I was able to keep swimming.
Give us some of your background. You rowed in South Africa, right? You were a rower. When did you take up swimming?
About 8 years ago. So from when I was age of very young to 25 years old, all I wanted to do was row. My whole aim was to kind of row for South Africa, and I rowed for South Africa for a couple of years, the later years of my career, when I was about 22, 23, world champs. But suddenly something clicked when I was about 24 years old, and I kind of lost my competitive edge. I didn't really want to compete anymore, but I wanted to do cool stuff. This is when I kind of started doing more long distance endurance stuff. My first long distance endurance proper thing was I've been living in Beijing for a couple of years, and I decided I didn't want to leave Beijing for any normal means. I decided to buy a bicycle and ride and cycle out, and I ended up in the southern tip of India. And that's when the kind of the long distance endurance thing set in, and I set up a charity that year, it was 2011, and I wanted to swim the English Channel.
Give it a plug.
The Bunya Challenge. I set it up in 2011 because I wanted to raise money, do kind of cool things like that cycling trip, and I wanted to raise money for a cause I was passionate about, which is early childhood development in South Africa. And so my first goal was to swim the English Channel, but I'd never swum before. So I learned to swim, and 8 months later I was swimming the English Channel, and I really just scraped through. But at that point I got the bug.
So once again, you set the dream about, you got this dream about swimming the channel, but you didn't know how to swim. Are you saying you actually could not swim at all, or?
I wouldn't drown.
You wouldn't drown,
I could get in the water and I could swim. Yeah, I was always an athlete, so I used to row, so obviously.
You had the mindset.
If I fell in the water, I had to swim to shore.
Yeah.
But I remember my first lesson was actually in an endless pool, and the guy who was watching me was like, "Man, if you want to swim the English Channel, you've got a lot of work to do. You're a bad swimmer, technically."
Yeah.
And I was like, but we approached it in just easy steps, just learn basic technique of freestyle swimming. And 8 months later, I could swim.
So what would be the secret? What are the tips that, now you've swum this 150-kilometre swim and set this amazing world record, unassisted, which is really, really important in the world of open water swimming, and a Guinness Book of World Record. What is the tips that, way back then when you actually took up swimming seriously in the commitment part, what were the tips that really helped you, that set that up when you did the open water swim?
I would say, like I just said before, just take everything in baby steps.
Yeah.
Build up your endurance slowly. Your technique is obviously incredibly important, as you would know. I've done the drills I did the first day that I learned to swim. I still do those drills the day before I would do a 50-kilometre swim.
Everybody hear that? Say that again, Cameron, because a lot of people think that technique's got, once you learn to swim, technique's out the window, but technique is essential.
Yeah.
That form.
Yeah, exactly. I do the same drills that I did my first lesson ever, but I still do the same drills the day before I do 150 kilometers. It's so important on the technical side, because 150 kilometers swimming for 60 hours or 1 million strokes.
And you don't look like you're suffering too much right now. 3 weeks later, I mean, you're not walking around with a sling, or you've had to have surgery, so you've done something right.
Yeah, my shoulders were fine 2-3 days later. It's actually the mental recovery is the hardest. Physical recovery is actually relatively quick.
So take us through the swim. Who was in your team? Because we know that it's not a solo sport. Nothing solo about marathon swimming.
Yeah, so I have an amazing almost family in Barbados now. I've been swimming there for the last 2 years, and the whole crew was from Barbados.
Beautiful.
Amazing, yeah, and the paramedics were from Barbados. The observers were Barbadian. All my feeders were Barbadian sports swimmers, and it was actually you do a swim and you know your support crew's enjoying it, especially like a 50, 60 hour swim. If they're enjoying it, you can feel it. And it makes such a big difference, especially in those kind of really lonely hours in the early morning. They're still like really motivational and everything. It makes a huge difference.
And it does make the difference between getting there and not, doesn't it? Or stopping and keeping going.
Yeah, a good example is on the second day, around just after midday, the water temperature was hitting about 32 degrees centigrade, about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is extremely warm. And I'd been swimming for about 30 hours at that stage. And I was really struggling. I was overheating, and I was feeling dizzy. And I didn't notice at the time that I was swimming very slowly. My stroke rate went down to about 45, which is very slow for me.
And what were you holding so that people understand the difference?
Upper 50s stroke rate, and now it dropped to like below 50. And just plodding along, and I was thinking about, I don't think I'm going to make this. Like, I can't even keep my eyes open right now. And I was looking, my eyesight was blurry. I was hallucinating a lot. And suddenly, as soon as my crew noticed that, as soon as I noticed that, they were amazing. They would give me much more ice in my water bottles, and I was able to put it in my speedo, under my cap, on my back, and then they were feeding me every 15 minutes just with ice. Yeah. And so I managed to get through those few hours, really warm hours, and then suddenly at like 4:30, I started cooling down a little bit. That's when I felt rejuvenated. My stroke went back up.
So that core body temperature is dropping.
Yeah. So the support people was support. I don't think I could have made that.
Yeah. So what time of day did you talk about when you sat down with this crew? Did they have any background in open water swimming? Or they obviously had a background in passion and commitment and teamwork.
They're all, most of them are good swimmers.
Yeah.
They also, I swam around Barbados the year before, and most of them have been on the crew, including the paramedics. So yeah, they got some experience on that swim.
So you've done the English Channel. What other open water swims? So people understand. I'm just going to go out and climb Mount Everest. Next year I'm going to do Everest. There are baby steps, aren't there? So the English Channel.
So I've done the Ocean 7.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Which is the.
They're impressive.
Yeah, it's something created by Steve Monotonis. This is kind of the equivalent of the 7 summits of mountaineering. The English Channel, Catalina Channel in Los Angeles, Cook Straits in New Zealand, etc. The hardest one's probably the North Channel, Ireland to Scotland, because it's very cold.
Well, if you've been living in Barbados for a few years, yes, I can understand why the North Channel would be a bit difficult. And that's acclimatisation, and that's what we're, you hear people coming. People don't say, that's too hot, or they go, it's too cold. So
it's the cool thing about open water swimming. There's so many challenges. It's extremely cold. Like the North Channel was 50 degrees or maybe 53 degrees Fahrenheit, and this last one it was 90 degrees Fahrenheit. The two extremes.
Absolutely. How do you train? Because the Ocean Sevens is like that. There are different temperatures like that, just like your Barbados swim. So how do you acclimatise for a warm swim?
It's easier than cold, but it's pretty much the same. You just got to train in that temperature, and potentially more extreme temperatures.
Because you'd already swum around Barbados. Did they monitor your core temperature in that during that swim?
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. I did it in November. It was probably in Fahrenheit about 84 degrees, and or 83, 84. And so, I kind of bolted up. I never done a warm swim before that. That was warm for me.
So you probably find a swimming pool cold.
I do, yeah.
It's 26.8.
Yeah.
So you had the round Barbados. What swims did you do? You were talking about doing 24-hour swims. That's the baby steps, obviously, in preparing you for those swimming around the clock, isn't it? And the night time. It
sounds ridiculous doing 24-hour swim as training.
I know, yeah.
That's what you have to do.
Exactly,
like, if you want to do a 60-hour swim, you've got to do those 24-hour swims, and especially getting through a whole night. It's very important to practice that, because it can get very lonely and stressful between the hours of 2 and 5 in the morning, because your body hasn't seen the light in so long. Your body wants to shut down and sleep. So those hours go very slowly.
Melatonin levels.
Yeah, hours go very slowly, and you get a little bit depressed. But as soon as you see the first ray of sunlight, it's like you're stepping on a
Did caffeine play a part at all in your swim?
Yeah, during the second night of my swim, which is going to be the hardest part, I was taking quite a bit of caffeine every 3.5 hours. And in the middle of that, I was taking quite a big dose of anti-inflammatories.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of cool to look forward to that. You know, I had the caffeine and the inflammatory stuff. It's always these little goals where I can take some drugs.
Legal.
Yeah, it's all legal.
Yeah, I know. But it's interesting. Other people are always talking about hot chocolate or you know, pieces of chocolate or a fig bar, and you're talking about anti-inflammatories and caffeine. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because you know you're going to get a buzz. I'm interested to know, how do you prepare for a night swim? You know, you're saying 24 hours and the mind's going to play tricks. How do you prepare for that? Or the lessons that you learned, how many 24-hour swims did you do?
It was about three. But last year I did 2. So I've done, I think, and I did it around Barbados swim last year. That was 41 hours. So I've done about 7 24 hours up to now.
7. You heard that? 7 24-hour swims. And 3 in 1 week, wasn't it?
3 in 1 week.
Because all of a sudden you were doing this big swim.
Yeah, and then I did obviously 2, I guess we can count it as 2.
So what did you learn in those 24-hour swims that you took into the world record swim?
You learn how to deal with stress, especially early hours of the morning. You know, suddenly if you do 3 in a week, and suddenly during your swim you're going through the nighttime periods, and you're like, well, I know I can get through this. I know it's just a little bit of depression happening right now because I haven't seen the sun. I'll just go to swim for another hour and I'll be fine.
So it's kind of like you're going to work and you're not going to get much sleep. You know, you've done it with those days. You know, there's people who shift workers in the middle. It's like, oh, I can't do this. But then you start doing it back to back to back, like literally your week was like that before the swim. So how did you deal with the stress? What kind of stress did you feel? Just give us some examples.
So, you know, with a long swim like this, first of all, I train so much. I was doing sometimes 60 hours a week. And,
how many Ks would that be, or miles?
About 140 Ks.
And was that open water or pool or both? Boat pulling. Was there any particular speed work in that, or was it just get through the monotony of it?
Towards the end, there wasn't much speed work. I was just trying to like find my rhythm, doing like long surf. But yeah, like a few months before this swim, I was doing maybe probably 50% speed.
Yep.
And I just lowered the speed work as I got closer to my swim.
Let's get with reality.
Yeah, because eventually the month before, you're just really looking to just find your rhythm. That's the most important thing. You're out doing this long swim, you just want to find a rhythm which you can maintain. And the last thing you want to do is go out too hard. So it's very important to get that rhythm.
Now you talked about something really important about support around you, and you said that you and Sarah Thomas and yourself were communicating because you were both doing these epic challenges. What were some things that you shared?
A lot to do with the salt.
Yes,
These long swims, I mean, it's like 60 hours, and like you have to train for 60 hours. So I know I could swim 60 hours, but like the extra variables is the hard part. Like the sun, the sleep deprivation, especially the salt, big variable. You're in the water for this long, like the salt's going to get into your skin, especially your lips and your tongue. Like my lips are about double the size usually, like after the swim. So much, I can't even describe the pain.
How's your tongue? Your tongue's fine. It's recovered. I saw.
I started tasting the other day actually for the first time.
I saw Ben Edgley's.
Like,
oh my gosh, you know, and the layers peeling off, you know. So
my tongue's never peeled off. It's been pretty close. Yeah, the salt's the worst. So me and actually Sarah was one thing I worried me and I know worried her. So we were like exchanging Facebook messages, just talking about how we were going to deal with the salt. And she was using that lanolin in her mouth. I was using Vaseline. It seemed like her tongue was quite bad. Because my tongue was actually fine.
Yeah, she was saying she really struggled swallowing.
My lips were fine. My lips were really bad and my tongue was fine. I was putting Vaseline on every half an hour. And also I think Vaseline didn't make the sun.
Yeah.
So I've learned that lesson.
So give us an idea, you started at what time? Morning or night?
8 a.m.
8 a.m. Okay.
And swam through 2 full-day nights and then an extra day.
So how did you pace it? Like, what was the strategy? Was it, I know you were feeding flops for every 30 minutes. What was the race strategy?
Race strategy is just to get into the rhythm as soon as I could. Like the last thing you want to do in a swim like this is go out too quickly. I'd rather like have a really kind of easy, chilled first half and then see how I feel and know if I can get focused for a second or just maintain. negative split.
Oh, you next splitted your 150k, did you?
Yeah, significantly.
I love it, I love it, I love
But I
it.
think there's a current at the end.
Who cares? It's a neck split.
Yeah.
I love it,
It was
Cameron.
a proper negative split. So, but also like the temperatures were so extreme in the first day and the second day. That's why I also.
So what extremes did you have?
The water was so warm. It's like 32 to 90 degrees. And like I was training that, but I didn't expect it to be that warm. And at those temperatures, I probably swam about 70% of my speed. That was very extreme. It's very difficult.
Did that kind of sap your energy? So how did you lift for that? How did you maintain that focus and not allow that to lose focus of, whether it was energy-wise or mindset or positive or confidence in yourself?
Yeah, good question. It's more about like short-term goals. The second day when it was really hot, it started getting hot at like around 10 a.m. And I was focusing on getting to what I thought was going to be halfway for the sort of 30 hours. And I had no way to get to 2 p.m. was halfway. That's my main focus. Because at 2 p.m. at halfway I was going to ask the pilot how far I had to go. And so I got to 2 p.m. finally in the heat. I was really struggling and I went to the pilot and I said, his name was Adrian, I was like, how much further do we have to go? And he said 40 miles. It didn't make any sense because that was a lot more further than I thought we were. So I was like, this is amazing, like cruising. And I later found out that he lied. We actually got we had 50 miles to go.
Yeah,
it's a big difference.
Exactly.
It's like less than halfway as opposed to more than halfway. Anyway, so at 35 hours, but now it's 7 p.m. Now it's perfect temperature. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
They switched pilots and asked the new pilot, Adrian, asked the new pilot how far we had to go. And he said 43 miles. And I was like, the guy lied. But actually, I wasn't angry because that got me through the rest of the day.
Well, we're going to take a break now, folks, and we'll come back with you with the finish of Cameron Bellamy's epic adventure from Barbados to St. Lucia and the Guinness Book of World Records. See you soon.